with the announcement of Battlefield 2042, there was a lot of people obviously chiming in on their thoughts about Battlefield 2042 and everything that it pretty much encompasses at this point in time, or at least what we know. And so what I want to talk about in this segment of the show is everything that we know so far about Battlefield 2042. We can break it down, and I would love to have a real conversation with all of you guys exactly about that. So let's get into it. So guys, this is an article that was written by Tyler Wilde of PC Gamer. All the Battlefield 2042 details. The next Battlefield game is Battlefield 2042, thrusting the large-scale FPS series into a near-future Earth. So where stateless mercenaries fight for superpowers. So that's all fine, but for once, the new setting isn't the focus of a Battlefield reveal. So the big news is that Battlefield 2042 doubles the player count to 128 and redefines the class system to feature specialists with unique gadgets. The previous Battlefield games have all tweaked the basic Battlefield format, but this feels like the most significant change to the series since it started in 2002, almost 20 years ago, and I 100% agree with that. So let's talk about the release date. So the release date, guys, is October 22nd, 2021. On PC, it's releasing on Origin, Steam, and the Epic Games Store. So obviously, it'll be on PS5, Xbox Series X, S, and then, of course, cross-play support has not been announced as of yet. Obviously, it will also be coming to PS4 as well as Xbox One. Now, the big thing, though, guys, you got to take these dates with a pinch of salt. Coming out October 22nd, 2021. With everything going on in the world, guys, with the pandemic and such, sure, it looks like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We're definitely close to getting there, but it still may push certain titles back. I think that we'll be able to stick with this date, October 22nd, or that being, of course, DICE and EA. Hopefully, we're able to stick with this date, but maybe, just maybe, it'll get pushed back a little bit. Hopefully, that's not the case, though. So, obviously, guys, 128 player specialists and no single player. So let's talk about that. So the max player count has been doubled to 128 on PC and current gen consoles. Awesome. 128 player maps are divided into sectors containing clusters of control points. Capture all the control points in a sector to control it. Classes have been replaced by specialists. Characters who have unique gadgets but can carry any gun. Gadgets we've seen: a grappling hook, a health revive gun, a movement sensor, and as well as a wingsuit. There's no Battle Royale mode and no single-player campaign. Now, they say no Battle Royale mode, but we know, guys, from watching the trailers that just the storm alone, that being like the cyclone or the tornado that's on the map and such, that really gives you this indication that there very well might be a Battle Royale mode at some point. I think they could really twist something there to be really awesome. So there's no Battle Royale mode right now. Maybe at some point there will be. The no single-player campaign is a huge blow, in my opinion, to this title. I'm very excited about Battlefield 2042, but when we're talking about there's no single-player campaign, they're saying right now no Battle Royale mode, at least at first, it's really disheartening. Now, 128 players is absolutely awesome, but my big question is are we going to have large maps as well as some small maps? Because I really feel that Battlefield needs to take a page out of Call of Duty's book. Call of Duty has bigger maps now. They also have small maps, right, that they're known for. Battlefield's known for the big maps, but I think that they also need some smaller scale maps where there's if you want to play fast, you can play fast. If you want to play slow, you can play slow or more realistic. I just feel like if you're going to have no single player campaign, you got to have a ton of content in the multiplayer, and I really hope that's what happens. So how does 128 player maps work? An increased player count is accommodated by bigger maps that are divided into sectors. Within each sector, there's essentially a mini Battlefield match playing out. In the standard conquest mode, teams can hold a sector by holding all the points within it. It sounds like you could spend all your time hanging out in one map sector, but there's nothing stopping you from calling in a vehicle and heading elsewhere. So basically what it sounds like, it's a Battle Royale title, but not Battle Royale. Or I should say like a Battle Royale map. So it's almost like Warzone or like Fortnite. The map's probably going to be constantly evolving over time, but they're not going to have other maps, or they're not going to have other ways in which you can connect with this title outside of one map and such. That's the only thing that's really bothering me about Battlefield 2042 at this point. 128 players is awesome, but are there other modes you can play? Are there other, what else really comes with this? I mean, is it really just going to be on one map like Warzone and you're going to pay $60 when you can play Warzone for free? Those are big question marks. How do the specialists work? What will likely be the most contentious change in Battlefield 2042 is the introduction of specialists. They're sort of like Rainbow Six Siege operators in that they have names, backstories, and special gadgets and abilities, but they're more flexible because they can use any weapon you've unlocked. Battlefield class archetypes like Assault and Recon are still there, but DICE now describes them as categories which specialists fit into, which there will be 10 specialists at launch, and I'm totally okay with that. I think that might actually be pretty awesome. So the specialists that have been announced, you got Casper, Webster, Maria, Boris. These are just some, right? One's an engineer, one's a support, assault, and recon. Awesome. So Battlefield 2042 modes, no single player, no battle royale, and there's 2 mysteries. So Battlefield may have finally given in and become a character shooter, but it hasn't been tempted again by that other modern shooter trend. There's no battle royale mode, and there are no plans to make one. I'll say this, guys. I'll believe it when I see it that like over time they decide like, hey, we're just not going to do it. Battlefield's way too big of a title to not at least attempt battle royale outside of Firestorm. The Battlefield 5's Firestorm mode is not returning, at least not for now. There's no single-player campaign either, although you will be able to play multiplayer-style matches entirely against bots and progress that way if you want. Apparently, the AI has gotten a lot better. All-out warfare is the term DICE is using to encompass your standard Battlefield modes. Announced so far, that's the classic point capture of Conquest and the more linear attack and defend battles of Breakthrough. Beyond all-out warfare, there are 2 mystery modes. One is called Hazard Zone and will be a high-risk squad-focused mode, but not a battle royale mode. That's all DICE will say, but based on that description in the name, I think we're pretty safe in assuming that inspiration has been taken from the Division's Dark Zone, Hunt Showdown, and Escape from Tarkov. A third mode was created by DICE LA and will be revealed at EA Play Live on July 22nd. So let's just kind of talk about it. I mean, the modes. There's 3 modes, guys. All-out warfare, Hazard Zone, and DICE LA mode. It's a little bit concerning to me that you're only going to have a few different modes, especially when we're talking about a multiplayer-only title at this point in time, unless, that changes at some point. That's the only thing that really concerns me about this title, at least at this point, is that you're going to only have a few different modes, and there's no battle royale, there's no single-player story, and those modes seem to be pretty, confined to a certain space. They're not so much... Now, we don't know until we actually get our hands on the game, but it's a little bit concerning because this game's got a ton of promise, guys. The way I went from what I've looked at so far, the gameplay and such, or even just obviously all the different trailers and the special effects are awesome. I mean, it looks like it's going to be great, but this just is a little bit concerning to me, at least at this point. Now, what are the setting, vehicles, and maps like? So Battlefield 2042 is set just 21 years in the future, so the tech isn't too out there. Drones, robot dogs, etc. The premise is the usual galaxy brain speculation. Due to global warming, a number of the world's countries have collapsed, leaving large parts of Earth's population stateless. Naturally, stateless people have formed elite mercenary armies who now fight on behalf of the US and Russia, or maybe for themselves. The vehicles are near future versions of jets, helicopters, tanks, and other ground vehicles, and you can call them in from the sky. The maps look cool and have big destruction set pieces such as the rocket on Orbital, which can either have a smooth launch or a not so smooth launch. Here are the 7 all-out warfare maps that'll be at launch. So one of them, Kaleidoscope, Manifest, Orbital, Discarded, Renewal, Hourglass, and Breakaway. So, they've got, 7 maps that'll be there at launch. Nothing, you know, I mean, 7 maps, I mean, that's fine. I'm just a little bit concerned about the lack of modes. You know, you've got some maps, but you got such a lack of modes. Now, maybe it'll be fine. Maybe it'll be absolutely awesome once it comes out and everybody's totally fine with there being less, because maybe less will be more at the end of the day. Now, pre-launch and post-launch plans. This is pretty big. So there will be a Battlefield 2042 technical test in early July for players identified as Battlefield veterans. So at some point after that, Hazard Zone will be available to play early, and there will be a Battlefield 2042 open beta for those who pre-ordered. Battlefield 2042 will release in full on October 22nd. As usual, the PC version will be available on EA's Origin Store, but this time it will also be on Steam and the Epic Games Store. New specialists and maps will come in seasons, and there will be 4 per year, each which includes battle passes with free and paid tiers. He has said that new maps will always be free for all players. So at the end of the day, guys, I think that there is hype behind Battlefield 2042, but I also think that there's a lot of speculation as well as concern about there not being like enough content, not enough there for how long the Battlefield community has waited for this title. I know, speaking from the Call of Duty community, we get a new COD every single year, and for the most part, those Call of Duty titles include a brand new story mode, multiplayer modes, co-op, or whether that's zombies or it's whatever it might be. And then on top of that, you have a free-to-play battle royale in the form of Warzone, which is a smash success at this point. So Battlefield, on the flip side of this, been waiting a while for a new Battlefield title. The community got futuristic, which is awesome, which is what mostly the entire Battlefield community overall wanted. But you're kind of, it's a little bit, there's almost a lack of content. Now, maybe over time it's going to really build up and ramp up over time. But right now, it's not too much as of yet. And with no Battle Royale and no single player story, there is reason to have concerns and doubts about what Battlefield 2042 could be. I'm still going to be super optimistic about it because I think it looks awesome and I'm excited about it. And I'll be sure to give you guys more updates and more content on Battlefield 2042 as we get closer. So with that being said, guys, what do you think about Battlefield 2042 from everything that we know so far? What do you think? Are you excited about it? Are you concerned? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Battlefield 2042 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.